Is your PPP loan going to be forgiven or nah? Let's talk about that.
Gotta talk about my life as I see it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Jonathan Moore. I have a visual media company. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I like to make videos like these for other creatives out there who are trying to build a life on their terms so they can get it how they live. Now, in today's video, we are going to be discussing the PPP loan. We are in the season of forgiveness. So the question that a lot of people want to know is your PPP loan going to be forgiven or not? And if it's not forgiven, what's that going to look like? And if it is forgiven, what's that going to look like? And what are you going to need? So by this point in time, if you have gotten a loan yourself, or you know somebody who's gotten a loan legitimately, okay, then you should be at the point now where you are either applying for forgiveness, or you have applied for forgiveness, or you have achieved forgiveness. Now, the goal of the program was to achieve 100% forgiveness. Now, there was a lot of confusion around it, especially for sole proprietors or single member LLCs, okay? But essentially, if you were a single member LLC, a sole proprietor, your business wasn't taxed as an S Corp, which means that you would be running a payroll. If it was just you're not running a payroll. You didn't have to worry about payroll, okay? It was basically a formula. And they didn't consider the money that you paid yourself from the loan as payroll. They considered it as owner's compensation replacement. So essentially, when it comes to the forgiveness portion, it's not so much you documenting paying yourself or moving the money from here to there, or I paid myself so much each week. No, it's basically just a flat formula. You had a formula that determined how much money you got from the program, and you had a formula that determines how much of that said money was going to be forgiven. Now, you were supposed to use it the right way, and if you did some fraud stuff, then you probably get caught with that. But if you did it legit, then you should be completely okay. Now, when it comes to the forgiveness, there's not anything really special that you have to do, okay? The SBA has their own forms that you have to fill out. So for the sole proprietors out there, the single member LLCs, I believe that form is 3508S, which is pretty straightforward. You got to fill in a couple of, they have some information for you to fill in, some certifications for you to initial off on, and then bada boom, bada bing, you're off to the races. Now, even though you do have to fill out this document, your bank, your lender who gave you that loan might also have their own formula or their own, set of documents that they want you to fill out as well too, that they are going to, take for them internally and then submit to the SBA. Now, what you'll notice is that when you're submitting your paperwork, okay, to the SBA, they're not going to ask you for documents. They are going to have a request in there that you do hold on to certain documents just in case they do request them, or just in case your loan gets audited. So you want to make sure you have your paperwork in order, so that way you can quickly pull and send those documents out if you need to. But for the most part, it's like they don't need any documents. But the one document that they do need, that they did request, was a 2020 Schedule C. And if you know how the program works, it was the Schedule C that determined the amount that you were given for the loan. And with the fraud that was going on, people were creating fake Schedule Cs. Basically, they never had a business. They never filled out a profit and loss statement, but somehow all of a sudden they had a business, or somebody was filling out one for them, which is just ridiculous. So here's the problem with that. You went off of your 2019 Schedule C to determine what you got for the loan, at least in the first round. But that's not where it ends, because they want your 2020 Schedule C. So like I said, you got the money based off of your 2019 Schedule C. So if somebody filled out a fraudulent Schedule C for you, or you don't know how to fill out a Schedule C and a profit loss statement, well, then all of a sudden they're going to ask you for a new one. And you probably can't get your scammer buddy to do it for you because, well, there's no money, there's no incentive, filling out a 2020 Schedule C, because they're not giving you money. They're just kind of determining your forgiveness. But not only that, they're double checking your legitimacy, right? Because you should still be in business for the most part, or you should have had at least a little business going on in 2020, because after all, the pandemic or the lockdowns really hit like around springtime in 2020. So you could have been doing business all the way in the beginning of the year. Hopefully you were able to sustain and stay in business, but you're going to have to send that document in as well. So if you don't have a 2020 Schedule C, right? That could be problematic. Now, I don't know what they would do, but that could be problematic because they're going to want to see that in determining how much you should be forgiven or if they're going to forgive the loan at all. Then if they don't forgive the loan, you're going to have to pay it back. Good thing is that it's at a 1% interest rate. And I believe with the newest rules in place, you probably have about 5 years to pay it back, unless you committed fraud, in which that case, you're probably going to have to pay it back. And you're probably going to have some type of, fine. Maybe you'll go to jail. Who knows? But if you committed fraud, I mean, that's your headache to deal with. I'm just talking to the people who did it legitly. So for those who did do it legit, if you haven't filed for forgiveness yet, make sure you reach out to your lender. Okay. At least if we're talking for the first round. Okay. Because now the SBA has set up a new portal where you're going to go through them directly. Not all banks are signed up for this, but a lot of banks are. So you're going to want to check with your lender about that. But if you get the first round forgiven, you can go ahead, move on to the second round. If you got the 2 rounds, if you only got the 1, boom, you're done. But if you got the second round, you can now go directly to the SBA, fill out your paperwork, submit any documents that they're going to require, and go from there. And if you do everything the right way, then you should have your loan 100% forgiven. So hopefully this video was helpful. I believe that this was a great program for those who did need it. Unfortunately, a lot of people missed out because of scammers. And for the scammers, this is going to be tricky, right? Because if they ask you for a 2020 Schedule C, you're going to have to come up with something, right? You can't, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to have to figure something out. And the whole thing about a Schedule C is that's money that you made that you didn't pay taxes on. So if you're telling them that you made X amount of money, then they're going to ask for X amount of dollar in taxes. It's completely tricky for those who scammed it. But if you did it legit, you should be good to go. You should file for forgiveness sooner than later. So that's it for me today, guys. Hopefully that video was useful and helpful. Like I said, make sure you reach out to your lender when you're filing for forgiveness. Maybe I'll come and do a follow-up video for round 2 and doing the portal directly, which is supposed to be, easier and a more streamlined program. And, that's basically it for me today, guys. So let me know down in the comments below. Did you get a PPP loan and did it get forgiven or what's going on? I mean, you don't have to share it, but if you want to, feel free to. And for all my people out there who are trying to build a life on their terms and get it how they live, this is your man, Jonathan Moore, and I'm signing out. Peace.